Do you all understand the difference between responding versus reacting? Because there is a difference. When you react, you're not thinking about the consequences at all. You're on automatic pilot. Impatient people can't wait 5 minutes for a hamburger to come. Your heart is beating fast. It's always rushing, always impatient. Gotta go. What time? Oh, no. You have an abundance of anxiety. That's what you have. You better hurry up. You better come out this house. Come on, girl. You better wait a minute. Let's breathe in. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be super aggressive. Let's breathe. Take some deep breaths. I did that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking about impatient. Here I am blowing my horn. But it's a work in progress. When you respond, you are very thoughtful about the consequences of your behavior. Wait without complaining. That's how long you have to be patient. It will happen, but you have to wait. How can you go through life not thinking about the consequences of your actions? Being meek is not a form of weakness at all. It's having your strength under control. Meek people, they definitely have a quiet disposition. They're not boisterous and loud and rude and Take some deep breaths. So you can relax. You don't have to walk around like the Tasmanian devil all the time. He creeps like a mouse, but has jaws like a lion. Powerful.
Girl, thank Google.
I Googled my symptoms.
Never do that.
And I really would love to get that out of my brain.
I've seen it. It's disgusting.
Something about Elisa. There's something about Elisa.
Oh, Lisa.
Sweet. I love that. Like, oh, dun, 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 dun. Yes. You have to be accountable for what you did.
Who, me? What? I regret nothing. The end.
Did I do something I shouldn't have done?
It's confusing.
What? I do.
Am I missing something?
What the hell is going on? Like, I
do not understand.
What is this woman talking about?
What you talking about, Willis?
I don't want a dissertation. I just want an apology.
I'm sorry you think you deserve an apology.
You deserve 2 flushes. Get out of here, Uncle Tina. Bye. All right, so now he's blaming the weed. This is the whole Shaggy thing. It wasn't me. Oh my goodness, Urbanites, I am back on a Tuesday night. Welcome, my Urbanites. You have entered into the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa LaCon. How are you all doing today? Listen, we have as always, a huge show. We have a very special guest. She's waiting behind the curtain. Well, it's really not a curtain, but you know what I mean. But she's waiting behind the curtain. And guess what? We're going to talk about Mr. Kevin Samuels. So we'll be right back. Stay with us. You are entering the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa LaCon. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community with Dr. Lisa LaCon. Oh my goodness, we are back. Listen. All right, so we have a wonderful guest. I'm going to bring her out. I'm going to reveal her beyond the curtain. She is a city She's running for a city council position in the great, wonderful city of Orange, New Jersey. Let's bring out Quantavia Hilbert. Yes, come on out from beyond that curtain.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, thank you for coming. I know this is the last minute push and you all are just rearing and raring to go. And I have to ask you a couple of questions before you get off. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? And why are you running right now?
So my name is Quantavia Hilbert. I'm actually originally from Virginia. I was born there, and I moved to New Jersey about 20 years ago with my family. I attended college at University of Hartford, Connecticut, where I studied as a physical therapy and a management major, double major. And in the past couple 10, 15 years, I won't date myself too much, I have experience in healthcare, data management, business development, along with mental health workshops, bringing people to the resources and just building the community up, just resource at a time, just getting people involved and getting them engaged and giving them the information that they need. I have a passion for working with underserved populations, and I also have a passion for giving people to the information, because a lot of them either need translations or they need to know where to go and then how to hold on to those relationships in the community. Yes.
So why now?
Why now? Well, I could only ask God that. Growing up, I've always been involved in the community. My parents, we were a military family growing up, and my grandmother, she was an educator. My mother herself, she's a doctor, and they always had us involved community-wise. I've volunteered on Senator Lautenberg's campaign. I've volunteered on Donald Payne Jr.'s campaign when he was councilman in East Orange. And I've had other experiences where it came to mobilizing, and like I said, just advocating and doing the grassroots movements. So this is actually my second time running for council. I ran back in 2020 for at-large, and it was here in Orange. And I chose Orange because I love the city. I love what it has to offer. Unfortunately, as long as I've been here, I haven't seen progress. I've seen it digress. There was a moment where we had 2 Bank of Americas. Now there's none. There's a moment where we had a Y. We actually had 2 Ys on Main Street. Now there's none. Our Elks Lodge has shut down. There's been a swift dismissal of civic organizations and community-based programs here in our community. And really, the people who are suffering the most is our youth, because what do they have to aspire? What is motivating them to graduate and actually, strive for something better in life? We have nothing here that's nurturing them. We have nothing here that's serving us as a community. And I really like to see more. I really like to see better for our people and actually bring resources to them that now they're being educated, but they're also being able to make an income to afford to live wherever they want to live.
So say, for instance, if you're elected day one, what is your main objective? What would you like to do? Hit the gate running, open it up, and do what?
First and foremost, like I said, I want to make sure I'm building the bridge. I want to work on the relationships with the community. So I would like to work on our own tenant association and a couple of board associations within the West Ward. Once we get that started, I actually kind of been organizing this entire campaign. I've been identifying the key players who will really be effective within a role of a leader to just kind of funnel and channel all of the information back into the community, back into the buildings, back to the homeowners, and back to those people who have businesses within our area and they feel like they've been either shut out or ignored by the city. There's a lot of entrepreneurs like myself, because I currently own 2 businesses in the city of Orange, and I haven't really gotten a whole lot of support or outlets, I really had to go out there and get it myself, whether it's from the city. Well, not much from the city, I'm going to be honest. It was mainly from the county and the state. And whatever resources I have, I share with other entrepreneurs.
Now, what are the demographics of your ward, West Ward?
So we have, if you're talking about living, we have, I don't want to say there's more renters than homeowners, especially because we have a lot of new development that's coming. So we're going to have an estimate of about 4 new apartment buildings by 2023. Also, we have undocumented. We have large Caribbean population. We also have the African population, African American population, and so it's a beautiful mix of what we offer here. However, a lot of it is not really reflected, and the diversity is kind of snuffed out a little bit. I really like to see more opportunities for Caribbean, for Hispanic entrepreneurs, and I would also like to see more programs geared towards that.
Now, how did your program or your platform reach out to those communities?
Well, honestly, I've been getting phone calls all day actually about this. A lot of people say, you know, Tavia, they call me Tavia for short. We really appreciate when you came to our home and you were telling us, you know, about the issues that you experience. You know, I experience issues when I rent here in Orange as well. And sometimes when you reach out, you don't feel like your issues are being solved, but you have to pay your rent on time, right?
Right.
And so people said, well, I've been calling this number, I've been asking for help, no one's answering. So just something as simple as going to City Hall, confirming a new list, an updated list of phone numbers, sharing it, and then calling code enforcement right on the spot to have somebody come out and help them. Call an emergency hotline for the city, having somebody coming out to help them on the same day. Something like that, it means a lot because you're already building that connection with somebody. That's a neighbor, not a voter. That's a neighbor.
Right.
And that's somebody's mother, that's somebody's aunt, that's somebody's father. We are all hardworking Americans that we really want to see our benefit. We really want to see the benefits. And we don't want to just sleep and eat here and then go work somewhere else. We want to have all the experiences that we can afford and that we want to be obtainable within our community. A lot of the funding and the money that we make at our jobs or our income, we spend it elsewhere. We have nowhere to really shop, nowhere to really invest, and nowhere to really enjoy ourselves. Like if you wanted to do, I don't know what you used to do, but my family and I, we used to do buffets. You remember going to like buffets after church? Or,
Right,
you know,
yes.
yeah, just on the weekend. There's no place where you can really go sit down in diners and enjoy that atmosphere. And I would really love to see a quality of life come back to Orange, where everyone has something that they're interested in, and then something that they contribute to. Yeah, so our demographics here is extremely diverse, and we have a lot of workers. We have new residents, new homeowners, some from Brooklyn, some from other parts, and it's a good mashup of people. So honestly, everyone has been extremely friendly, and I've been receiving good feedback because people are still optimistic. Yes.
Right. Awesome. Now, yesterday I talked about the sort of like the connection between our politicians and our mental health, and how the policies that can transpire in a community can affect our mental health. Can you talk a little bit about that? And one example I gave, a lot of the candidates were talking about the dark lights or no lights in the streets. The streets are dark. And when you go outside, it's, it's hyper vigilant. You're heightened, your anxiety is heightened, which can create stress and things of that nature. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it's wonderful that you're in the mental health arena as well.
So that is one of the reasons why I did choose to run, because I used to be a behavioral intervention specialist. And one of my things is to notice trends, is to read people, and it's also to study the data, right? And so you're looking at all of these things that are missing. You're looking at all these things that people are complaining about, and you just kind of see how things correlate. So yes, lack of lighting when you're outside. We have parking issues. So if I have to park 3 or 4 blocks from my house at 10 o'clock, right? Or say your mental health, you could have worked, a 3 to 11 shift. So now you're coming home at 11:30 at night. You have to park your car 3 or 4 blocks away. There's no lighting. So how do you feel walking back to your apartment building? Also when it comes to just driving around or walking around, there's a lot of decay. There's a lot of abandoned buildings, especially our old Memorial Hospital, which has been sitting for over 10 years. That's crime. To see something like that, it looks like you're in a movie. It's like you're walking through the set of I Am Legend. There's no sense of pride. And when you look at something, it's almost like it's been forgotten. And I feel like that feeds into the inner person, the inner resident who's like, oh, well, I guess they don't care enough to do anything about it. Oh, no one answers my phone calls. I guess there's nothing I can do about it. They don't care. They don't care. This is the message that's being sent out, or at least perceived to the residents, that the administration doesn't care. And it's that sense of hopelessness that really eats away at the mental health of all residents, all of them, whether they want to admit it or not. A lot of people have been complacent because they felt like it was no point in fighting back. I'm the type of person, I'm going to say what I have to say. If you don't want to say it, I'll say it for you. And then I'm going to bring you into the light so you can repeat it after me, because everyone deserves to have their voice heard. And there's so many solutions that are being overlooked. It really doesn't have to be this way. Seriously, it was really sad prior to the pandemic. So imagine the state of mind for people coming out of the pandemic. I actually met a young lady with 3 children. She said she's still in the pandemic. To already feel the sense of hopelessness, to feel like your city is ignoring you, to feel like you're doing your best to work and provide for your family, and yet your rent continues to go up beyond 5%. But yet you still have holes in your wall, or you have infestation. Or when you walk down your street out of your home, there's trash everywhere. Someone keeps blocking your driveway. You can't go to the supermarket and have good quality produce because most of the stuff already has flies or spoiled on the shelf, and it's overpriced. So I used to say something like this when it came to Newark and East Orange and Orange. People say the food deserts.
Right.
I didn't even feel like we were the last stop. I just feel like the food just fell off the truck. The truck didn't even stop. It just kept going. It's just like I said, it's a low bar that has been set within this community, and I'm really trying to raise it, working on the community morale. I'm trying to work on the morale, the mental health of it all, getting people engaged and starting with the motivation. It's actually trying to figure out, okay, not only are you a resident, you're a stakeholder. What's in it for you? What's going to make you feel like you're comfortable to live here? You want to continue living here, and you want to invest in living here. What is it going to take for you as an Orange resident to get involved again? And it's a hard feat. It really is. It's a hard feat. Just telling you, we're looking at the numbers. West Ward, for the past 10 years, only 384 people have came out to vote.
Wow.
We have over 4,000 people registered to vote in this ward.
I was going to ask you about that because you said something about hopelessness. Is that one reason why you think people don't get out to vote? Because you think that they think, what's the point?
Say it one more time.
Oh, that's all right. So they may think like, what's the point of voting? Because you were talking about hopelessness. Like if I vote, nothing's going to change because that voting percentage is so low across the board. And then also you mentioned something, the illegal population. That's a cohort that's not able to vote. So how do you fight that? Because they may not have a vested interest in the community. Like, how do you I don't know. How do you fight that?
Well, I do not pretend to have answers for everything. I always consider myself to be a student, so there's always something for me to learn. Every opportunity is a learning opportunity, and I'm extremely optimistic. But I truly believe in any plan of action, you always have to have an assessment. And the assessment is normally an evaluation, and evaluation is initiated with communication. Communication is the key to everything because a lot of people feel that there's no communication in our community. And if you don't tell them, they don't know, they won't ask questions.
Right. All right. So before I let you go,
Yeah.
I need you to look directly in the camera and tell the constituents why you. Like, this is the last minute. We have how many more minutes we have left?
Oh,
Like
with me? How many minutes you have with me?
But no, before the polls close, we have 40 more minutes.
Oh, I'm actually going to be at the polls in the next 20 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, my office is right here, so I walk to the polls. I've been walking all day.
So let me ask you a quick question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you all get the numbers as they come in, or do you wait like us, like civilians, and wait for the news, or how does that work?
Actually, no. We have our own system where we'll go and we'll check in and say, hey, how many people came in, and we'll compare it to our list of people that say, yes, I'm voting for you. And we just keep the numbers like that. We just keep the numbers like that. So in the morning it was a little slow, but during the lunchtime, you definitely saw an upkick. And then I'm really expecting at 7:45 to see a dramatic improvement for those coming from work. People have been calling and asking, what time does it close? What time does it close? So I still have an active phone banking going on. I still have people calling. And I've been extremely resourceful. I really like to say I've been a leader in this campaign in the city of Orange because I was the first person to come out. I was the first person to be to be the person in market everywhere. And I was also using technology to reach those I could not touch because we were still in COVID conditions. So I used all of my resources, and I believe I changed the game. And if not, I improved somebody else's campaign.
Wow.
So, basically we're still moving and grooving here. But I will say this, going back to the undocumented people, I went to everyone and I said, I don't care if you cannot vote. Take my business card anyways, because if you have a problem, I want to know about it.
Right.
Save my number, save my email. My office is right here on Scotland Road. Drop in anytime. I hope when you drop in, I hope I have some food for you.
Right.
Anytime. I welcome anybody to come here because I'm a part of the community, and the community is what I live for. So, it might be similar, but hopefully I was able to engage with enough people to come out and be hopeful again. Even the children are engaged. I've never seen children this excited. Yeah, I've never seen students so excited. I almost felt like I was Beyonce for a second. I'm walking down the street and they said, Quantavia. And I said, hey guys, you're like, oh, it's her. She's so beautiful. Oh, she's so cool. And, I really love that because the kids have something to look up to. Here's a person. I moved here when I was young. I graduated. I went to school. I did everything right. I started a business. I started a family. And now I'm giving back. I'm creating jobs within my community. I'm creating volunteer opportunities within my community. You want to set the stage for the kids to create their own stories. You don't want them to graduate high school and go out in the world without a direction. Absolutely. So I feel like it is our civic duty. It is our obligation as global citizens, as residents of Orange, to step up. We have to be more vocal. And if the person behind us is silent, then you tell them to write their stuff on a piece of paper and you read it out loud for them, for the person over there to hear it.
Right. Amen to that.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Hilbert, thank you so very much for joining us in the Urban Suite. I appreciate it. All the best to you. And just, we'll look forward to what's happening tomorrow morning. I guess when I wake up, I'll know.
We're getting the numbers in. It's looking really good. We should know hopefully by 9.
Oh, by 9. Okay. All
yeah,
right.
hopefully
I
by
hope I'm
9.
still up at that point.
If not, I'll I'll send you a message and let
All
you
right.
know.
Wonderful.
But I'll probably tell you now, I won.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
3A. 3A,
That's
everyone.
right.
Please show up. Orange needs all of us.
Yes, absolutely. All right. All the
Yes.
best. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Have a fabulous night.
All right. You too. All right. Goodbye. Oh, that was wonderful. What do we have up next, Curtis? Coming out the gate, what would you like to?
I'm coming out of the gate hot.
No, it looks like I'm dressed for the rodeo, but I'm not.
I'm a cowboy.
You never know, right? All right.
You never know. Maybe you'll even enjoy yourself.
You never know what's hiding under the hard shell of a clam.
Oh, yes. So normally in the Black community, we ask, where your people from?
Where does she come from?
She's a comedian.
In your opinion, how did that happen?
Y'all want to know my honest opinion?
Do you really want my opinion?
Election time is upon us. So why do you think people choose the same candidates over and over, but they want something different? Like, I don't understand that mentality.
Every vote counts.
If you're not gonna vote, don't complain. Period.
Nobody likes hanging out with people who complain all the time.
You know, basically the information that you get here is priceless. It really is.
The thing about freedom is it's cheap, but it's priceless at the same time. Ask someone that doesn't have it.
Wake up. The time for change is now.
So thank you so very much for enlightening me. And I'm sure some of my urbanites, those are my guests, my urbanites, as you can tell when I say urbanites. They're
I like that.
fantastic. Yes, the urbanites. We rock and roll. Yes.
You gotta get a shirt. Urbanites.
So this is our missing person segment, and tonight we are highlighting Gabrielle McDonald. She's been missing since April the 27th, 2022 from Dallas, Texas. She's 15, you guys, 15 years old, again, missing from Dallas, Texas. She's a female, she's Black, her complexion is dark, her height is 5'5", she's 130 pounds, Black hair color, shoulder hair length, and her eye color is brown. I want you to listen to this, okay? I need you all to listen up to this. Gabrielle was last seen in the 1800 block of Main Street, Dallas, Texas on April 27th, 2022. I don't know what time. However, it says circumstances of disappearance. Gabrielle may be a victim of sex trafficking. She is also in need of medication. This is someone's daughter. She's only 15 years old. My people from Dallas, wake up. I need you to share this information. I need you to share, please. So if anyone has information about Gabrielle McDonald, please contact the Dallas Police Department at 214-584-4255 or Black and Missing Foundation at 877-97-BAMFI. Thank you. And let's bring Gabrielle McDonald home. Now, we do have a found safe. Ariana Michelle Anderson has been found safe. Thank God. Yes, she was found safe. I don't know the circumstances of her being found safe, but she is home safe. Thank you. The people from Ohio. Oh my goodness. She was only, 16 years old. So again, today we did Gabrielle, and we thank God for Ariana. So let's bring Gabrielle home. Thank you.
She ran her too.
If you have a comment, question, or concern you want us to discuss on the show, leave a voice message on the Urban Tools for Change hotline.
I have some amazing news for you.
The number is 973-262-4363.
Yeah, this is me.
That's 973-262-4363. Call us anytime, day or night.
It's worth looking into, isn't it?
We want to hear from you.
I love that beat. Doom, 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 doom.
Right.
Yeah, that's a hot beat, right? I like it.
Right.
Doom, doom. So we are back. We are back in the Urban Suite. Oh my goodness. We've had a lot of things to happen within the last week. Oh my gosh. I feel like I haven't had a break since Kevin Samuels news.
Right.
And we had to pop in, and I remember doing a show about the 5 stages of grief. Do you remember what the first stage is?
Denial, right?
The denial. So when you told me the news of his death, I was in denial. Were you in denial?
Not so much, because I saw it. When I look at Twitter and stuff just repeats over and over again, there's kind of a vetting process, I feel. And by the time it gets repeated a certain amount of times, I know that it's true. Or I feel that it's true. So, once they said it, I was like, yeah, that must be true.
I was in denial. I was like, what? I don't believe this. I just can't believe this.
Well, make people remember what we're actually talking about and who we're talking about. There's a little tweet that came up there that explains the circumstances and just explain who Kevin Samuels is to the people that might not know.
So Kevin Samuels is a relationship guru.
Was.
Well, yes, but come.
I'm just saying, he was. I mean, he's not anymore. I mean, some people didn't really consider him that great of a relationship guru before. So
right, yeah, exactly. So he was a relationship guru, and he was a podcaster, and he had 1 million subscribers, and he always talked about what modern day women want and how modern day women want these things in men that perhaps they're not able to have access to based on their physical appearance, based on their stature in life, based on a couple of things. So last Thursday, I believe, he was found unresponsive. Apparently he had a cardiac arrest, a heart attack, in Atlanta, Georgia. And it says more details on Kevin Samuels per Atlanta police. A woman met Samuels and spent the night with him. She identified him as Kevin Samuels. Now, it was interesting, prior to his death, he did a live show. And I saw a little bit of the show, and he looked fine. He looked, like he was in good health. But I think oftentimes we have to, get checked out, go to the doctor. I don't know what was happening internally. I know when I used to watch him, he used to drink a lot of Red Bull. I know Red Bull is not good for your heart, and things of that nature, the caffeine level, the sugar, all of that stuff. And then it says Samuels complained of chest pain, fell on top of her, and she called 911. I actually heard the 911 tape, the call that came through, and officials performed CPR. He was unresponsive, and he was later pronounced dead. But I think his legacy is going to live on through the lens of a positive lens and through a negative lens. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight, because he was very controversial. He was very controversial because he was very direct. He was very controversial based on his message to women. And it was as if some people thought that he did not respect Black women, and some people thought that he did a wonderful job to help them. So he has this, this theory, a high value man, and what a high value man is. And we're going to talk about that tonight, what he considered was a high value man, and also what he considered was a modern day woman. Like, who's a modern day woman? And so let's bring up the first one. All right, so okay, so that's fine, that's perfect. So basically, let me put this up right here. He had the idea that these high value men, the first thing that they did was look into the marketplace. And the marketplace was to look for a woman. And not necessarily just a woman, but a wife. Who will be a wife material that would be good enough to raise my children or our children? So that's how the perspective that he came from. Is this person wife material? Because some men, based on what I've heard, there's a difference between choosing a wife, having a mistress, and then having a girlfriend. I don't know. Is that true, Curtis?
That's probably true, but let's also consider the fact that sometimes people get married before they know which is which. Okay?
Well, that is true.
So sometimes people get married, and that's not their lifelong friend or anything, and they don't really like the person as much as they thought they did before they were married, because now they're living with them every day, and just the little habits and other things are going to change their perspective. Mm-hmm. Likewise, you also might be dating a person for years and years and years, and you actually never marry that person. But isn't that like if you're with that person, like, you don't have the contractual agreement on paper necessarily, but sometimes those are situations where they maybe should have been married, but the people are just not, because they're, for whatever reasons. So yeah,
so that's what that's basically his premise. These high value men are looking for a certain woman to become a wife. Are you wife material? So the definition of a high value man from him was that you have to make at least $10,000 a month. Okay, $10,000 a month, and it has to have a 5-year consistency. So basically, that's the key word, consistency. We're not talking about an ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. 1 year you make, 30,000. 1 year you make 90,000. And then he also talked about within the high value man, do not overlook the blue collar worker. He was saying a lot of the modern day women overlooked blue collar workers, your plumbers, your electricians, and things of that nature, because at the end of the day, they too can be considered a high value man. However, he was saying modern day women overlook them for the white collar worker, whereas there's a whole bunch of blue collar workers out there that are considered this, but you don't want that because you believe that that plumber, you believe that that truck driver, you believe that that blue collar is beneath you. And then he said, you believe, he's talking to women, you believe that it's beneath you, but what do you have to offer? You know, so are you cooperative in terms of him addressing women? Are you cooperative? Do you like to argue? Are you sassy? Do you like to cook? Do you have multiple children by different men? Because he was saying oftentimes these men, high value men, when they come home from a very stressful environment to make that type of money, they want to come home to a household of peace. They don't want to come home to a sassy woman. They don't want to come home to someone that's going to, be out the house all the time. They want to come home to someone that may cook their meals. They want to come home to someone that they really believe respects them. So that's a couple of things that he was talking about. And if they're accepted by others, meaning that you have a network in a sense, that you're accepted by others, that you have a network of friends, whether it's through a fraternal organization, whether it's through some type of other network, and you all have this commonality that, you're working with someone that's considered high value, and then your friends are considered high value. All right. And then, which ties into number 4, that you must have a network, meaning that you can't do it by yourself. Meaning if someone called you for assistance, you're able to pick up the phone to call someone else to help that person because you have established relationships with people that can make decisions. Okay. Not just anybody, but people who can make decisions and people who put their names on a check. Okay. And then traceable income. Traceable income meaning, all right, so let's be real. If you are a drug dealer, right? 9 times out of 10, you're going to hide your money. You're going to have and be loaded with cash. You may hide it under your mattress. You may hide it, whatever. But he was saying that a high value man, they have accounts. Now, whether it could be an offshore account, an offshore account, but you have an account, you have papers, you have, you can go to the bank and get a loan if you need to go to the bank to get a loan because you have that much, for one, you have a decent credit score, things of that nature. And then usefulness. Usefulness is how useful are you, one, to that woman in a sense, based on your character? How useful are you, two, based on your community? Are you a community servant in a sense, or are you just selfish, thinking about yourself? How useful are you? Are you, in a sense, do you want to be a community activist or do you just not care? So basically, that's what he was talking about in terms of his high value. The one thing that I did not agree with him on, there were a couple of things that I didn't agree with him on. I didn't agree with him on was his tone and his delivery. And I always felt that he wasn't trying to assist anyone. I felt that he was trying to prove himself right while trying to prove them wrong. And I don't like that exchange. And then I had another problem with him because his mouth was filthy. He just used a lot of profanity. I don't like profanity.
But hold on. Let's go over it because we're skipping one major part too, I feel, which is, and I didn't look at this, but I think there's this list exists, and I didn't watch the show, but maybe you know this. But what did he consider a high value woman?
Fit, meaning that she takes care of her body, meaning that she doesn't have to, look like a model, but she does take care of her body. She goes and works out. She goes to the gym. She goes to the doctor to make certain that everything is fine. because
So looks. Let's just boil that one down to looks.
physical, yes, physical.
Yeah, all right.
Physical
Right,
appearance.
all right, but what was the next one? What was
The next one was not being sassy, like a woman that was cooperative. I did mention it a little bit, a cooperative woman. So not giving him lip, not giving your husband, an attitude when you come home and things of that nature.
Let me get to this. Were there any useful like were there any personality traits of a woman that he thought were important? Like he just so far we're on just looks and they don't talk back. That woman could be a mute, she could be a maniac in her mind. She could that doesn't mean anything because you don't talk back and you look good. That doesn't describe a person at all. Like there was no personality traits. No, like he's saying the men are supposed to have X amount of money. This woman is not. It's not good if she has her own business or whatever, and she doesn't cook.
He said it's good if she has her own business. That's fine, but her business should not interfere with the household. Like the household should be first and primary. Your business is secondary. If you pay too much attention to your business, more so than your marriage, that's a problem. And that's what he was saying. But
that was okay for the man, though. It was okay for the man to not pay attention to his family.
Right. So say, for instance, he said this, high value men typically do not go to PTA meetings. That's typically the role of the wife.
Ooh. So the high value man is not involved with his kids?
Not to that extent. That's what he was saying. Because they don't have the time based on their work schedule to be that involved with the children. Whereas the wife, he was very traditional in that sense. He was very traditional in the sense that if you're home or if you're working close to home and your employment may not be as stressful as mine, it's best that you take care of those matters and those affairs because I'm taking care of everything else. I'm taking care of the bills. I'm taking care of, putting food on the table and things of that nature. And then another thing that he talked about was that women, he would ask them, do you want to work after you have children? And if you don't want to work after you have children, first of all, how many children do you want? If you want 3 or 4 children and your husband doesn't work, how much does he have to earn in order for you all to live a decent life and not be on, in a sense, welfare?
Okay. Well, certain things, it seems like, and you brought up this comparison, and I want to even go a little bit further with this comparison, but you compared him to Maury Povich.
Yes.
Right? And since he was a kind of Maury Povich type of figure on the internet, like doing stuff, he was getting those particular kinds of women. And I'll just explain like this, in that I feel that he was treating and talking to a subset of women. He's not really speaking to, and he's talking to a subset of men. He's talking to a subset of people. Just like on the Maury Povich show, there's a lot of people that are married and they have kids and they know exactly who their baby daddy is. Okay. There's a lot of other people that are not married that know exactly who their baby daddy is. But then there's a subset of women that get pregnant that don't know who their baby daddy is. So they need to go on the Maury Povich show. Right. So now when we go to Kevin Samuels, there's this subset of women that are strictly looking for a man based on financial needs and don't have any like qualities in and of themselves that are distinguishable from anybody else that might be pretty, that might not talk back. So there's a million women all standing in line, all pretty and don't talk back. What's the difference between them now? So, like, how do you, like, what's the difference between, like, they don't have a personality? So I'm just saying, like, that subset of people that are interested in others that don't have a personality, that's not everybody. Like, everybody's not interested in somebody just being around with a zombie that they, could just, order around to do stuff for them and have my kids and make my dinner and stuff like that. Some people want somebody to talk to when they come home.
Right, but
Some people want to share certain commonalities with other people.
It's interesting because what did Felicia say? Agreed, his tone was offensive. His tone was very offensive. His mouth was ugly. He cursed a lot. He cursed a lot. I'm like, oh my gosh, my ear, like I can't.
And she said he was hard to listen to many times.
Yeah, because I had to turn him off also because it was like, oh my gosh. But another thing that I noticed, you hit on something. The women that came on that program, they pretty much had the same profile. Mm-hmm. And the profile was this. One, they did not grow up with a dad in the household. That was number one. That was like pretty much across the board. Most of the women were, I would say, came from dysfunctional households, and they were very vulnerable. Number two, most of the women had children, multiple children by different men. And number three, they seemed a little limited in terms of their education. Now you had some women that came on there that had, their PhD and things of that nature, but he would challenge that population. He would say, okay, so you're so concerned about your profession that now you are 40 years old, 35 years old, and you're competing now in a market of 27-year-olds. So it's going to be tough for you now because the competition is going to be greater.
That was I feel like that's a flawed opinion though, because just in the same vein that he thinks that all older men don't want teenage brain girls. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like so a 27-year-old is not necessarily.
He said it's going to be more challenging for you to find someone. He didn't say that you're done. He just said you need to be realistic. It's going to be more challenging for you because you have all these things. You have your disposition already in place. You have your degree. You have all these things. You have your house. You have your this. It's going to be kind of challenging for you to navigate away from that, to have someone else come in your life to now be, the man of the household when you're used to assuming that role.
Yeah, again, I really feel like he's talking about a very small subset of like individuals because for instance, there's people that like I feel personally in the grand scheme of things, I feel like there's somebody for everybody. Like no matter how messed up you are as a person or how great you are as a person, there's like somebody for everybody. You know what I mean? Like if you're extremely obese and you have, bad cooking skills still at the same time or whatever, there's somebody that actually likes that because they might like other things about you and they don't mind those types of things.
Right.
So there's somebody for everybody.
And that is true, but he's talking about marriage, not just dating. So if you look at our numbers in terms of the Blacks and our marriage numbers, it's only, I believe, maybe a third of us get married or something like that, like a fourth or so. I mean, we date, but dating is not what will assist in closing that wealth gap in a sense, and that's what he's talking about. He's talking about not just boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah. But again, like I feel like his whole thesis was a little bit flawed. I feel like he didn't necessarily practice what he preaced because if we look at the totality of his life, did he die alone and single in an apartment somewhere?
Well, not
like
really.
Having sex with somebody that he
didn't die alone.
Well, like Mr. AG said, he came and went at the same time, but that's a different story.
Oh boy.
But I'm saying he was technically having a one-night stand with somebody that he just met didn't even know who he was, didn't care who he was, didn't care how much money was his bank account or anything because they didn't even know him. Right. So that person didn't necessarily know he was some rich dude or whatever, unless of course he paid her and he could show that he was some sort of rich dude.
It's so interesting because I'm getting conflicting stuff now that she knew him and she lived there and all this other stuff. I can't get into that because that would be bitch. I can't get into that because I can't get into none of that. I can't.
Right, but I feel that. See, I think the main thing about him was, and it goes back to what you said with the whole Maury Povich thing. I feel like the persona and the show that he did on YouTube that got him not 1 million viewers, but not 1 million subscribers, but 1.2 million subscribers. So
yeah, I think
1 million two. Well, after he got more people, so 1,400,000. Now we just broke milestones for Urban Tools for Change, and we've been getting our little subscribers up and stuff too. Right. But we ain't got no 400,000, let alone 1,400,000.
No, not yet.
So, yeah. So he but I think in order to get that amount of people to watch and tune in, they tuned in for the drama and for the cursing and the belittling of the women that came on there and all of that stuff. That's what they tuned in for. And in fact, I do have that clip, which we looked at before. It's like the 20-second clip of him talking about why he did the show the way he did. This is before he blew up, though. This is what he said before he blew up. Let's take a look at this.
A lot of times, guys don't want to hear that truth. We just don't. If I come on here talking about, female nature, such and so forth, and if I would start bashing women or talking noise, oh man, the likes and everything will go through the roof. But when you start talking to men, saying, guys, cheap is some of the most expensive stuff out there. You gotta do better.
So he was kind of saying that if he was to be truthful with men and say certain things, they wouldn't have really listened to the show. It was him bashing the women, which is what got him the views. So he was, I feel like, just doing that for effect. Dramatic like effect. This whole thing. Because this is the thing. Those 6 points that he has like that, there's certain things that you would want to teach your son or your daughter about how to get involved in a relationship. But at the same time, you want to just teach them how to be the best people that they can be. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to teach them to, do this so that you can just attract a woman. If you're going to be trying to make money and do certain things, that's because you want to better yourself. You know what I'm saying? That, so, and I don't think there's a big distinction between, like, if you have a son or a daughter, you're not going to tell the other one to not, like, your daughter not to better herself and to be as all she could be and try to have her own business and stuff like that, just because you want her to go find some high value man somewhere. That's going to be, making her future rely on her being able to find somebody that could provide for her. But you, in a sense, want your kids to be able to provide for themselves, if they're male or female. You know what I mean?
That's what he's saying is the modern day woman, that they don't need a man to in order to live and survive.
And that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, though. Like, if
the worst, but I don't subscribe.
All right. So how do you think? What's that boy name? ASAP Rocky feels with Rihanna. Rihanna is way more wealthy than he is. Rihanna's like a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? And he's in. They're both. Well, they're pregnant now. She's pregnant by ASAP Rocky, and his career is much smaller than hers.
Oh, absolutely.
But so she does not need him financially at all.
However, she doesn't need him financially, but their child does. And then that's the thing that I think we're overlooking. I mean, within a couple of months, he may be in prison somewhere.
Wow. Why are you saying that?
No, yeah, he's up against some charge or something.
Oh, was it him and Young Thug that got arrested for racketeering?
Yes.
Was it those two? No. It was him and no. It was him and Gunna. West Side Gun. No. West Side Gun is somebody different. ASAP Rocky is somebody different than West Side Gun.
But I thought it was Ace. Whatever.
No. Not ASAP Rocky. He's chilling up underneath Rihanna. He ain't in no trouble for racketeering right now.
No,
don't put that on his name.
But there's another charge for him. Look it up.
Oh, well, that was for like beating somebody up at his house or something like that, or like assaulting someone at the house, or like, you know, or pulling a gun on somebody.
But at the end of the day, even though she's a billionaire, she may still raise a child without the dad in the household.
Well, let's assume that he don't go to jail. Like, she's still.
You know that relationship. I mean, come on.
Easy. Why are you doing ASAP Rocky? All right. How about your girl Nicki Minaj and her husband?
That's another one.
I don't want to call him a pedophile. The sex predator. Like,
right, that's another one.
She does not need him financially at all.
She doesn't need him financially, but their child needs a father, a steady father in the household. And I don't care how much money women have over men. If you're going to have a family, you need to have a family, because at the end of the day, that money will never fill the void of that absentee parent.
Well, how come these so-called high-value women are choosing men that are not on this same list that Kevin Samuels is trying to portray? Yeah, they're making more than $10,000 a month, but they're not making more than her and all that. They're not coming home. Rihanna's not cooking for ASAP Rocky, and that Nicki Minaj ain't cooking for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not doing things.
They have plenty of options. And they may be the ones that like that control. They may like to be the one in control. So they may not want a man to be the head of the household in a sense.
Like the women, you mean like Nicki Minaj or Rihanna?
Right.
So maybe there's other women like that in a different subset. That
there are.
Okay, so the men are going to be doing the opposite. Like, they're not going to be
correct. That is correct.
So they're going to be looking to fulfill other needs of that woman.
That is correct.
All right, and they might not be taking copious amounts of Viagra and all these other drugs just to stay with some woman that they just met that night. You know, they're not going to be in that same situation as maybe Kevin Samuels found himself in.
Right, they may not be, but it's really interesting, and I think that's what we're overlooking. Like, okay, especially if you bring children into this thing. You know, I don't care if you're a multi-billionaire, the kids are going to be affected. It's sort of like Kanye West and with Kim Kardashian.
Right.
I mean, their kids are going to be just...
Right, and they're both high-value people.
Right.
They're both high-value people. But what does that, like, does that mean that they're going to have a good marriage?
No.
Okay, so he's not talking about what to do to have a good marriage.
Right.
He's talking about what to do. He's just talking about, and that's just one kind of marriage, because there's all kinds of other marriages too.
Now, speaking of marriage, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask Felicia this question. I want you all to think about this, because I've been pondering this. Do you think in the African-American Black culture, we should have arranged marriages?
Arranged marriages. Mm-hmm. I mean, in a sense, like, you would think, it makes things easier sometimes, but then it's like you don't know that person though. So you're just rolling the dice to see if you can get along with them or not. So that would be the other thing. But, and again, we keep talking about a nuclear family, a mother and a father and the kids, but there's all other kinds of situations too. And also in the Bible, there was other situations where men had multiple wives. If you go to the Mormon community in Utah and the sister wives and all that, those men have multiple wives. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's all different types of arrangements that, going back in history of mankind, might have been beneficial at one time or another and might not be beneficial now. So I don't think there's one set arrangement. And like, there's different celebrity or your boy, what's his name? Brother Polite. Nuclear family. He said that's the best way. So is Brother Polite right, or was Kevin Samuels right? Brother Polite's still alive. So I don't know. Did he win?
I have no idea. I'm trying to figure that out. But at the end of the day, Kevin Samuels was an image consultant. He put up a facade. He put up a image of what he wanted people to think. And his character, I think, was very flawed.
Yeah. And even once again, going back to that Maury Povich example, Maury Povich got his relationship is fine. He's been married to Connie Chung for like 30, 40 years or something like that. He ain't never considered, was that my baby or nothing like that. But that's all he concentrates on his show, is finding the one woman out there somewhere that doesn't know who her baby daddy is and is willing to humiliate herself on TV. That's his whole stick.
That's what these women did. Mm-hmm. They were willing to humiliate themselves on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh.
And it was his job to find them.
Yes.
And his show catered to people wanting to see people get humiliated and all that type of stuff. And just like that's why people watch Maury Povich. Same reason. That's what you said. It's the same reason why people watch Maury Povich, when they say, "Oh man, this woman don't know who the baby daddy is. Watch her get humiliated." When Maury Povich say, "You are not the father." You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so that's what people. Yeah, like that's what people. Just like when people watch Jerry Springer, and but see, my thing is what he promoting really good for society? Is it really good for the black community and this and that?
Oh, you mean Kevin?
At the end of the day, all of these people that are doing stuff for the likes.
I think it was very divisive in a sense, because you see how much hatred is out now. I mean, it's like they want to dance and spit on his grave.
People dancing on his grave right now. And it's like, listen, that's the legacy that he created, though. Like, he knew his image was like, look, I don't care. He said it on the video, like, yo, if I do this, I'm going to get big. And he didn't really look that, I don't want to say he looked disheveled or anything, but he looked very plain in that video.
That was a very humble beginning.
Right. So he was just
in a car with the leather seats,
Right. So he was, non-fronting Kevin Samuels. And then lastly, if we want to talk about being fit, and like he put a lot of emphasis on being fit and looking good and stuff like that.
Right. Yes.
But what's the looking good if the internal part is not there? You know what I'm saying? Like my cousin just told me, like, one of her court workers just recently passed away, like yesterday, the day before yesterday. So it's like that. Did that person know they were sick before they just fell out dead? You say with Kevin Samuels, did he know that he was actually sick inside? Like, he looked good on the outside. He had a cool ass suit and it was tight, and he, it was looking good on all this other stuff. And he had the beard trimmed up and everything, expensive shades on. But meanwhile, you 2 minutes away from a heart attack, my brother.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
Like, you 2 minutes away from a heart attack. You don't even know it. It looks good. The package look good, but the insides is falling apart from Red Bull and too much Viagra.
Oh,
okay, so relying just on the surface level quality of it is a little bit,
Well,
like,
see, that's what an
iffy.
image consultant does. That's the image consultant. It's just the shell.
And
Looking at that shell.
And again, like Felicia, you brought up that comment that Felicia said that arranged marriages need cultural understanding, and we don't have that. Yeah, right. Because there's different cultures. Like, think about in Africa, like when our ancestors were raised in Africa and stuff, they had arranged marriages. They had maybe multiple wives in certain situations and stuff like that. People want to call them harems, however you want to call them and stuff. Those multiple wives situations exist right now today in Africa. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, my Barbara, his mother and father, they have it in Africa. He's African. But what they have laws governing them. So it's sort of like they just don't do it. Mm-hmm. There's like laws that they have to follow and abide by. It's not just, okay, I want you. It's not like Brother Polite. Brother Polite, he's doing his own thing. Like,
well, what about the sister wives though? What are they doing? They're not doing it fully under the law, but like, it's the law in Utah.
Doing their own thing. They're probably doing their own thing.
Wow. They got it. They got something figured out, I guess.
This is what Felicia says. When I die, I want to go out like that. I don't want to suffer, but he was an ass. See now, is he encouraging a generation of people, women and men, to
to go out, like, you know, coming and going at the same time? Like, is that what he's doing now?
Hey,
Like,
maybe that's his
that's
legacy. Maybe
because all right. So lastly, with him, like, I feel like there's different subsets of women. Okay, there's going to be the subset that just wants the man for the financial situation, and that particular woman that wants that. You don't care anything about her personality or anything.
Right.
You just, well, as far as she shuts up. You know what I'm saying? You just want her to be quiet and look good. That's like the sort of trophy type wife.
Trophy, yeah. That's
The
what
trophy
they
type, that's a certain subset. There's the Rihanna and ASAP Rocky situation where it's like the opposite, maybe. You know what I'm saying? She's going to him for totally different things. She don't need him for no money or nothing like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She wants him for something else. Maybe sex is good,
pleasure,
whatever.
you know.
Maybe the pleasure is good. All right. Then you have people that are like when we start doing the reactions one day, and you'll see there's a lot of reactor people that are couples, and the couples are actually some of the most successful reactors, because what you notice with them is that they're sharing the same interests. That's why people like them, because like people love couple reactors because they like to see a man and a woman that are together and they share the same exact interests. It ain't got nothing to do with sex, it got nothing to do with money. It's just that their interests are the same, and they're very successful creating a business together. So they're actually doing work. Okay, yeah, right. They have, like, people be hating on that, but like they really love each other or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
they do, but they're not like together.
Well, look, I saw her wiping his chin at the funeral the other day.
I mean, listen, I think they have a strong love for one another, hands down. But do I believe that they're in the traditional marriage where they sleep under the same roof? No. I think they have a mutual deep respect and love for one another. I think they have and know a lot of secrets, you know, and they have a child together. They have a grandchild, you know, so those two are never going to get a divorce.
Yeah, but again, there's so many different subsets of marriages that we'll never know. Like nobody's on the internet describing everything. I mean, there might be some relationship groups out there that's describing all these different types of marriage situations, but there's so many different marriage situations. There's swingers and thruples and all that. Remember, like you talked about that?
Oh yeah, that was another one.
So these are married people that like going out with other married people and stuff like that, but that's their marriage. That's what they're into. You know what I'm saying?
So Curtis, it is 8:12. The polls have closed.
Okay, but I don't know if we're going to get any results yet.
We're not going to get any results now, but
but so look, let's take one quick break, and then just come back with a couple of quick little stories, just so that, because today's date is relevant to one of the stories.
Okay.
Right. So let's just maybe take a quick break and then come back with some more. Okay.
All right. I know who I am.
Who are you?
I'm just Linda Litsky.
I am beautiful. I am wonderful.
You are hot. You got this. Do not listen to them.
I am smart. I am intelligent.
We believe in you. Hot.
I am this. I am that.
Follow me then. Hot.
All these positive affirmations. Good morning, gorgeous.
Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to my party.
Good evening, gorgeous. Good night, gorgeous.
You nailed it.
That's a hard, man. That's a hard one.
That's a hard one.
That's a hard one. But you know what? Sometimes, hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is at this point.
Do it because that. Do it because that is. Do it because that is your shield.
As usual, I save the day.
So anyway, with that, I just want to say thank you, my Urbanites.
Thank you for what you're doing. Keep doing it.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, so what do we have up next, Curtis?
Here we go. Our first story is because of today's date, if you want to check that.
On this day, May 10th, 1740, South Carolina enacts the Negro Act of 1740, empowering masters to whip and kill enslaved people who violate the law by growing their own food, learning to read, gathering in groups, or earning money. Don't know about the Negro Act? Glad you asked.
So that is really crazy, right? And this Negro Act in South Carolina came up in 1740. This is before the independence and before America became its own state. And so it was just 13 colonies back then, right? But the reason why that actually happened, okay, was because about 9 months earlier, all right, also in South Carolina, this happened. If you want to read that.
Okay, the Stono Rebellion, 1739. The Stono Rebellion, the largest slave insurrection in the British North America, began nearby on September 9th, 1739. About 20 Africans raided a store near Wallace Creek, a branch of the Stono River. Taking guns and other weapons, they killed 2 shopkeepers. The rebels marched south toward promised freedom in Spanish Florida, waving flags, beating drums, and shouting liberty. But they went further south.
Well, what happened was, well, no, they actually all got captured.
Right,
they all got captured and killed. No, they actually all, yeah, they actually got captured and
in the
killed.
wrong direction. They didn't know about the North Star.
Yeah. No, well, actually,
going in the wrong direction, man.
No, well, actually, like back then, what happened was, and they didn't kill just 2 people. Actually, as they went from plantation to plantation rebelling, they gathered other slaves to come with them, and it ended up being about 50 of them that were part of this insurrection, this rebellion against slavery. These slaves, they rose up against their master, and they ended up killing 25 people. Wow. But then 25 white people, slave owners and stuff like that. But then the white people got it back under control. Once they hit this one place, they were outnumbered, and they got lynched after that. Oh. So, but that was a slave rebellion that happened, which caused that 9 months later, right, that Negro Act.
The Negro Act.
It was like, don't let these people read. Don't let them.
I said policy. Remember, I said policy. Your elected politicians, they can determine your mental health. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. Now, Curtis, what's this? I can't see that.
Yeah, you need your glad you read this. All right, it says, the enslaved leaders of the rebellion knew their best chance for success would be during the time of the church services when armed white males were away from the plantations. South Carolina actually passed laws to make life somewhat easier for my ancestors. That's the perspective of this guy writing the tweet. What he means by that is white owners were penalized for imposing excessive work and punishment, and a so-called Christian school was started so enslaved people could learn Christian doctrine on a Sunday. So when the white plantation masters had to go to church on Sunday, they was like, that's when these people chose to rose up in that Stono Rebellion. So there's like, instead of letting that happen, let's make a mandate that we can't make them work hard on a Sunday, and then we'll give them Christian school instead and let them learn to read a little bit, and they could, if they just read the Bible and stuff.
Right.
Okay. And so that's why, those laws and stuff happened, because they were trying to figure out how, because at that point, there was more black people in South Carolina than there was white people. All right. So it says, the colony already had more blacks than white people. So South Carolina stopped this by putting together a huge duty on the importation of new slaves from Africa and the Caribbean. Authorities also tightened control over the enslaved. So there was it can only be a 1-to-10 ratio on the plantation. So they started making laws like, yo, there's too many black people around here. We got to keep them under control. So y'all can't have, if there's already X amount of black people in this state, that's it. There's a cutoff number. If you want to try to bring more in, we're going to tax you real heavy on bringing that next person in.
Well, see, that's why I can't even go to a restaurant or a hotel with the name Plantation in it. I can't. I'm not sleeping in no Plantation Inn. I don't want to stay at the plantation B&B. I don't want. I mean, I don't want to have no plantation salad dressing. Like I just.
No, and some people like have their weddings at plantations and stuff like that.
No,
like you've seen that before, right? Like people have these elaborate, and even Black people too. And sometimes interracial marriage, when an interracial marriage happens at an old plantation, that's the worst.
I can't.
That's the worst.
Nope. I drive right by plantation. I was driving to Virginia. I saw this big, huge plantation inn, and it was like, "Come on in." I'm like, no, I don't think so.
No. But like our history, which a lot of people don't want us to learn, has all these interesting facts in it, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our history has these interesting things that we actually probably never even learned about in school.
Right. Oh, yes. Hello. Well, because we don't write the textbooks. We're not publishers. And then I always ask the question, is it the party goer's job to tell us about ourselves, or should it be left up to us?
That's true.
Party goers, I mean, we can't rely on them.
But there's two things about that. Two things. One thing is, but sometimes books and stuff get banned and stuff like that. So they're like making it illegal to have certain books, and they're preventing, like with that Negro Act, they're preventing people from trying to learn. And people were trying to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and stuff like that, but they didn't allow them to. But on the other flip side, when Black people start teaching themselves, then we might have situations like this.
All right, so this is Lincoln College, a historically Black college in Illinois, will close this week after 157 years, saying it could not survive the financial challenges of the pandemic and a ransomware attack last year. So I was like, what's a ransomware attack? I was confused. First of all, I had never heard of this school.
Right. We know of Lincoln University in Pennsylvania being a historically Black college, but I just never heard of Lincoln College in Illinois. But what they're saying is they got hacked, and it was confirmed they were hacked by some group in Iran. So so they got hacked. Like, they hacked my account, man. We got to close the school. Like, that's what happened. So it's like they trying to teach each other, trying to teach these people, you know what I'm saying?
So why did they attack that school? Like a school, like what?
That you never heard of before, right?
Well, maybe it's a dry run.
Well, yeah, it could have been. It could have been a dry run, for other things to come.
But that seemed too easy, like okay.
They shut the whole school down.
We gone. We out. Like there's nothing to do. Like we have. How many students did they have? Like 16? I mean, what? Follow who got the tuition, I guess. Who took the tuition money? Did they get a reimbursement? Was they still charged for that semester? Like, hold up. Like, this school is not even accredited anymore. Oh, man. Speaking of that, Morris Brown received this accreditation in Atlanta, so they're going to open back up fully.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's good.
That's a good thing. So,
and plus, there are, very legitimate HBCUs out there,
Absolutely.
Howard, Hampton,
University,
and Howard, and Morgan, and Morehouse, and Spelman.
State. I can go boom, 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 but I've never heard of Lincoln College.
And actually, a lot of our more successful people that end up coming out of the Black community, it seems, and like whether it be in politics or sports or any of these, in like lots of different major fields, they come from HBCUs.
Yeah, doctors. We produce the most doctors.
But actually, also to the sports people too. Remember, we did those stories about how Deion Sanders recruited some players to one of the HBCUs or whatever, and and there's a lot of and the PWIs don't really understand how these HBCUs are so successful, but our vice president comes from an HBCU as well.
That is correct. Howard University in the heart of Washington, D.C.
Right down the street where you used to live.
I used to live, my old stomping ground, Georgia Avenue.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So
let's see, what time is it? It's 8:24.
Just go check and see what it says. You can check and see what it says. We'll wait for you right here while you check and see what the little results counter might Come on.
Oh, okay. They're coming in. Okay, here they're coming in. Okay, I gotta put on my glasses. All right. Orange. Okay. What? Who's this? Orange. East Ward. Who do we have in East Ward? Don't know. East Ward. West Ward. Okay, here we go. All right. So, okay. Hilbert is in the lead.
Okay.
67% so far.
Ooh, that's a big number.
She got 67% so far. Now, listen, I have to say, Urbanites, we don't endorse any candidate.
It's just that she was on the show earlier.
I have to say that. All right, so Hilbert, okay, she's in the West Ward. She's leading so far with 67.71%. The closest one for her is 19.79%. All right, so then let's move over to.
Wait, look, just real quick for the clarification. Are you saying that she's getting 60% of the votes so far?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's a huge lead. No, that she's gonna win. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like,
well,
you're getting
her 67.7 is 65 votes.
Yeah, but she already said, sometimes a vote might be like 300 and something votes though.
Right. So
like, does it say what percentage?
Yeah, 67.
Like, no, what percentage has come in so far? Like, how much of the vote has come in?
It doesn't say, but they say that only 96 votes have been cast.
Okay, well, we'll see.
All right, so let's go to, we're going to go to the South Ward. Who's in? Okay, so the South Ward, Jamie Summers Johnson is leading. That's the ward that James Ward is in.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the incumbent.
31.8 to Jamie's 58.08. And then Livo James, who is the third candidate, has 10% of the vote.
Yeah, so it's between those two then. It's between Ward and the incumbent.
All right, so in the that's central. This is
North.
So in North Ward, we have Tensie Eason. She is in lead 64.7 to Sharif Williams at 30.88. And only 68 people have cast their votes. So far, Tensie Eason is leading in the
North Ward.
And then in the South Ward, we didn't have anyone from the South Ward, but far, Cooley,
James.
No, James is from.
Yeah, he's from the South.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the East Ward. Okay, yeah, he's from the South. So
What's the name of the incumbent over there? What's her name again?
On which one? Which
on
ward?
The South Ward. On the South Ward, she's leading right now by like 50-something%. She's leading in the South Ward over James Ward. Has got about 30-something%.
Let's see. Jamie B. Summers Johnson.
And he said that's his neighbor anyway. Like, she lives right 2 houses away from across the street or whatever. So everybody's gonna be happy at the end of the day. He said he's still gonna be working within the community whether he wins or loses, and that's good. Everybody's still very positive and wants to participate in the community regardless of whether or not they win. Because when you run for a job like this, it ain't for the money. It's because you want to participate in the community. Basically.
Well, I don't know, because all these little slush funds and stuff.
Well, sometimes they're in it for the slush fund, but we don't know nothing about that. We don't know about those slush funds right now.
That's little slush funds and and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and of course, Orange used to be the most corrupt city in New Jersey, but that's something else. They're gonna relieve all those problems with these new city council members.
Exactly.
So we're gonna wish them all the best, and we'll get the main results and the final results, I guess, tomorrow morning.
Right. So this one for the North Ward, they're low. 68, only 68 have cast their votes.
Remember when we said yesterday, like what percentage of the voters actually vote?
Man,
like people don't be paying attention to these types of these small elections when these are some of the most important ones. Like, these are the people that are deciding whether or not your water is clean and whether your street got a street light on it or a speed bump in front of the local school.
Right. Yeah. Hold on for a quick second. I got to plug up
but people don't really pay attention to this type of stuff, and it's a little bit unfortunate that people don't take their elections seriously sometimes.
Yep.
But that's why we try to highlight it a little bit so people could get used to, paying attention to elections and making it more fun.
All right. So you want me to go to Newark and see what's happening in Newark? Or
yeah, sure. Yeah. We know certain things might be some foregone conclusions probably, but yeah, let's take a look at Newark.
All right. So let's see. Irvington. Oh, okay. So we had Tony Voss versus Paul Inman.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mr. Inman should have stayed home.
What's it looking like?
All right, so Tony Voss so far has 85% of the vote, 666 to Paul Inman's 15% of the vote, 119.
Wow, but that's a much bigger voter percentage though in that particular. But that's like a mayor election anyway. So
right, yeah. So that's a little bit. So far, 785 people have cast their vote. And
that's a lot more though. That's better participation, right?
And then you had the City Council of Irvington. I'm not too familiar with these folks. All right, here we go for Newark. Oh my goodness. Sheila Montague. I think she should have stayed home too. Roz Baraka has 83% of the vote, 2,145. Sheila Montague's 414.
Yeah, she ain't catching up from that.
No.
I don't care how long the night is. She ain't catching up from that.
Council at large. Quintana, Roundtree, Gonzalez, and Crump. Ooh, this is a tight one. How many seats?
Well, they're actually running on the same line, I think. It's like there's four different, it's four different council people at large. So they're all up for, but they're all under Ross Baraka.
Right.
Like all of them are under Ross Baraka.
Roundtree, Gonzalez, and Crump.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have Annabelle Ramos for North Ward. He ran unopposed.
Okay, so he's obviously going to win that.
Well,
what they doing in the South Ward? That's one.
All right, here we go. Wait a minute. Okay, we have Cherry, Council, Bankston, Jones, Truitt, and Reese. We have Patrick Council in the lead.
Yeah, Council is under Ross Baraka. That's what.
Okay, 49.68 or 50% of the vote with 308.
Well, who's the next under him? Bankston, or who's next under him?
Who is next under him, trailing by 14% is Trenton Jones.
Oh, okay, because Bankston was the one doing the most promotion out here. It seems like.
Well,
I don't even know who that other guy is.
Yeah, Trenton Jones. And then we have the East Ward. That's Silva, Campos, Zebra, and Weber.
Tell me about the West Ward, because that's where Do It All is running at.
Oh, yes. Okay, here we are. Oh, it's kind of tight.
What's it looking like?
35 to Onyema. Chijuzi Oyema has 26% of the vote.
All right, so Tapri Kelly has 35.
Yeah, 190 votes cast for him, and the closest one is 141.
And if people don't know, Dupree Kelly is Do It All from Lords of the Underground, a hip hop group from back in the day.
Right,
He got into politics some years ago, and he's been working with different community organizations within the city and stuff like that. So that's him running for council in the West Ward.
LaMonica, I believe this is sealed. LaMonica McIver for the Central Ward. She has 67% of the vote, 391 votes so far, versus Sean McCrae with 33%.
All right, well, that's another person out of Ross Baraka's camp. All those people that you mentioned that are in the lead so far are all out of Ross Baraka's camp. So even you said Annabelle Ramos from the North Ward, that's Ross Baraka's camp too.
Right, that's the one that's unopposed.
That's Ross Baraka. Yep, that's
he received 100%.
Yeah, that's what happens when nobody runs against you, right? Now wait, one quick last one. Who's winning in the East Ward in Newark?
East Ward and Newark
so far.
This is tight. Ooh. All right. So are they up for? Oh, you have to vote for one.
Yeah, from the East Ward. Who's on the East Ward?
Okay, so it's Michael Silva and Campos. So Michael Silva has 38.89, and Campos has 36.26. So that translates to 133 votes for Silva and then 124 votes for Campos.
Now, is Lewis Weber's name on there?
He only has 50 votes.
Okay, well, that was the only person so far out of Ras Baraka's camp that's not winning.
Oh,
Lewis Weber is actually in Ras Baraka's camp. Yep.
Oh,
so they have their own people in mind, and that's probably like that's like the neck and stuff. That's like that's like the Portuguese section and stuff. So they have their own.
Oh yeah,
that's the East.
Oh yeah, that's all you have to say. That's
they have their own person.
They're not gonna have no Weber up in no Portuguese.
Yeah, they don't want Ras Baraka probably whatever. Like
nope, that's not gonna fly up in there. You know how they fly.
So they got their own person. Like,
that's very interesting. Oh my goodness. So it looks like, of course, Ras Baraka. I'm projecting him the winner in Newark. With my bell. I'm projecting. You heard it here. Urban Twos for Change first.
Okay.
Annabelle Ramos. I'm projecting.
Of course, because ain't nobody running against him.
Who else? Let me see. I'm going to go out on a limb. Tony Vaz, returning for mayor of Irvington. I'm projecting him the winner. Let's see.
Female-wise, what about LaMonica McIver? You said in Central Ward she's leading by like 67%.
I think I'm going to project her as the winner. Where is it? Yeah, I'm going to project her. I'm going to project LaMonica McIver, Central Ward, as the winner.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here. Urban tweets. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. I'm going to even project. I'm going to go out on a limb for Orange Council Member North Ward. What time is it?
The polls are closed at 8 o'clock, so right?
I'm projecting Tennessee Eason, Orange Council Member North Ward, as the winner.
And what about the West Ward though?
The West Ward, I am
with our guest that came on.
I'm projecting Quantavia Hilbert as the winner.
And if y'all missed the first part of the show, she was on at the beginning of the show, so you can see her whole platform and meet her as a person and see what some of these people that are trying to be elected to these positions, what they believe.
Right. And for the South Ward in Orange, I am projecting Jamie B. Summers Johnson,
which is the incumbent.
Right. Correct. Which is the incumbent. So yeah, this is very interesting.
Yes, I think it is. I think it is very interesting.
All right, so you heard it here first. You heard who the winners are.
Well, potentially.
Mayor Ras Baraka.
Right. Potentially.
LaMonica McIver.
Right.
And then Orange, Tennessee Eason. Quantavia Hilbert. I forgot the other ones. But yeah.
But this is potential because they're still counting the votes.
It's
still not over. It's still not over. People could come back from behind. Potentially, possibly, maybe. Well, I think we had a great show today.
Tony Vaz in Irvington.
Right. So I think we had a really interesting show, and it's been a great election day special for everybody too. It's the first time we're doing that. Okay. But why don't you take us up out of here?
All right. So, oh my goodness. So again, you guys, this has been a wonderful week. I think we're coming back on Thursday because we have a special show.
Yes, another
about
special.
Traveling and the importance of traveling and actually understanding that it's kind of difficult when you don't or may not have a home base. What do you call home in a sense? So we're going to talk about that on Thursday. But I just want to say thank you guys coming into the Urban Suite. Also for men, go to the doctor. For women, go to the doctor. Get your heart checked out. If you experience any type of signs, symptoms, and I'm talking to myself, go to the doctor. Get checked out, get your blood work done. When you turn 50, get your colonoscopy. I know definitely I have to get my eyes checked because I haven't been to the eye doctor in a while. So I have to do that. So my urbanites, hold me accountable because I need to get my eyes checked. But also take care of yourself because tomorrow is not promised.
Nope.
Kevin Samuels did a show 5 hours before he died. That was like amazing. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He did this live show. He never considered that he wasn't going to wake up the next morning. Isn't that something? So anyway, I just want to say thank you, my Urban Knights, for entering into the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa LaCon, where you laugh, learn, cry, and grow. Molly, take us away.